Okay, we've been studying about David for a long time, actually. We're somewhere in Kings and Chronicles covers the same territory, and Samuel, there's a tiny bit of overlap in the books of Samuel and Kings and Chronicles. But we're to the end of the story of David. In fact, this is the last story of David's life. He has ruled for 30 years, and he was a good king for Israel. He did, as we've discussed, he made some mistakes. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Things happen. At this point in his life, he is elderly, and one of his sons decided that he's going to be king next. Now, his name is Adonijah, but David had promised Solomon that he would be king. In fact, David had explained to Solomon, as we discussed last week, the details of what he wanted him to do in building the temple for God. He didn't explain that to Adonijah, but Adonijah decided that he was going to be king, and he was Solomon's older brother. So he thought he should be king next. He got David's head of his army, Joab, and he got the chief priest to side with him. They went to a certain location, and they had a sacrifice, and they started a party. Yay, we got a new king at the party. Word got back to Jerusalem that there was a new king declared. This made the people who had been loyal to David very nervous, especially Solomon. Adonijah invited all his brothers, and there are 19, I believe, names of sons of David listed. We know at least 4 of them have died at this point, but he invited all his brothers except Solomon, which leads us to believe he knew Solomon was supposed to be the next king, but didn't care. So Solomon is not invited. David's prophet goes to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, and says, have you heard what David's other son has done? This is not going to be very healthy for either of us. And they arranged to let David know what was going on. So David said, okay, we're going to take care of this. I want you all to bring Solomon in. We're going to put my robes on him. We're going to take him out and put him on my mule. And we're going to go ahead right now while I'm still alive, crown him as the king of Israel. And that's what they did, and there was a great celebration for it. When Solomon's brother heard what was going on, he got upset. He went in the temple, and because theoretically people don't get killed in the temple, there are a few exceptions to that through the history of Israel. But he went into the temple to seek sanctuary. Solomon told him, look, if you behave yourself and you live righteously, I won't kill you. I'll let you live. If you just be a loyal subject in my kingdom, it'll all be good. And he was for a few years, and then he messed up and he ended up executed. Joab was executed. Joab had committed murder. The head of the army had committed murder. David did not execute him. I don't know why. He didn't execute him. It may have been because he was his nephew. But Solomon took care of the issue. When you murder someone, God requires your blood. So he took care of it. Solomon cleaned everything up. He took over the kingdom. He is now the king of Israel. David died, evidently peacefully. And that is the end of his reign. But we know that he will be in heaven. And I can't wait to get to heaven and hear David and Johnny Cash jamming on their instruments and hear the celebration that we'll have when we get there. So-
time difference in between those two.
But there won't be in heaven. There's no time difference in heaven. So, let's sing our song. Jesus